best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RDG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. No lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RDG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. jobs, slideways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. No lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slideways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG go. Come on, boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out. Oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook. We knew going in, that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of Season 67 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Barebones Racing Series. Race number 5 as we get ready for some nighttime short track action at the Iowa Speedway. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Jack Mitchell, and Jack, so far 4 races under the belt of these drivers. We're technically at the halfway point of the regular season, that push towards the playoffs, but a track here tonight where drivers are going to have to be concerned not just about the rubber underneath them, but what's in the fuel tank here tonight as well.
Yeah, you were just talking to me pre-race about how this is possibly going to come down to a fuel strategy race. It was decided like that last season, so this should be really interesting to see if it comes down to that again, or if we actually get some kind of a closer run to the finish. We'll see how it all plays out.
So far, 4 races down, 3 drivers have gone to victory lane. Jeremy Jeffries, the only multi-time winner on the season, subsequently comes into tonight the points leader, but we found out prior to the drivers' meeting this evening that he will not be in the field here tonight, so that points gap he has over another former winner on the season, Grant Wesley, 24 points in arrears, could close up considerably. The other driver that has a victory this season, Greg Palmer, that was back at the Super Speedway of Talladega, but he's running on a part-time basis. So if you're Grant Wesley, Jeff Supta, Dave Melson, just to name a few that are trying to reel in Jeremy Jeffries here tonight, are we gunning for a victory to be able to close the gap up significantly, or are we just looking for the consistency here tonight, leave Iowa Speedway maybe with a top 5, maybe even just a top 10?
I would say go for the win. I mean, where you have an opportunity to do so with the points leader out of the race, do whatever you can. Try and get to the front, but at the same time, don't overdo it, because you can still take away a good points day and not feel like you had that bad of a race. I mean, obviously, if you just fell short of the win, it would not feel that great, but at the same time, you can think about it as you had a good points day. You made some gaps. You made up a gap to the leader, so I think you're still in a good spot regardless.
Jeremy will get some points here tonight via a provisional. We'll obviously have to wait and see what the gap looks like. Will he still be being chased, or will he have to do some chasing once they get ready to take the green flag next week at Daytona? 20 cars strong here tonight, and it's Josh Metallic who gets the pole position, clocking in at a 23.703. Jeff Supta going to share the front row with him. Doug Cady, back-to-back winner in the Challenger Series so far. He's going to make up row number 2 with Lacey Sandoval. Grant Wesley, second in points. He's in row 3 with Jim Glaude. Dave Melson and Dante Ricky, they'll be in row 4. Your top 10 going to be completed by Terry Bombard and Glenn Harris. Row 6 is going to find Richard Martin alongside of Ron Hagelin. Row 7, Andre Charest, Bobby Farrell. Cy Jones was the last driver to take time. He'll share the 8th row with Dave Robbins. Andre Mahjong and Jeff Crivello going to be back in row 9. And completing the field here tonight, Bob LaChance and John Godfrey. Sean Prime going to be the eye in the sky here tonight. 100 laps of racing. Halfway point will award the top 10 finishers stage points towards the playoffs. And we will see who will be left standing, who may have the fuel to stretch it. Could be back-to-back seasons where we see someone cross the line on fumes. Green flag is in the air, and we're racing at Iowa. Pretty orderly there off of turn 2 as Metallic clears for the lead. Supta into second. Ulysses Sandoval into third. Near contact for 4th position through the center of 3 and 4.
They got awful close together. Almost had some contact there, but like you mentioned, but like Katie going to stay to the inside for now and try to keep that momentum going, make that pass on the bottom, which he will.
Mentioned about the fact Doug Cady back-to-back wins in the Challenger Series at MNTR Speedway last week, as well at Edgewater, allowing him to close up the gap between himself and Glenn Harris, who won the first race of the season in the Challenger Series at Pikes Peak. 3 points separating those two drivers for that Challenger Championship. There's Grant Wesley. Started 5th, drifted back to 6th in the opening stages of this race, and has a front row seat of this raging battle continuing for P5. Correction, for P4.
Wow, and again, you're going to try and get to the bottom here. Going to do the same thing that just happened to him and make the pass on the inside. Not quite close enough, though, and he might also have to think about playing defense because Grant Wesley right behind him in the 88.
That's a good point. We saw him running a little bit lower down the back straightaway, and that could have been twofold, showing the nose, maybe trying to give a different look to Doug Cady, maybe cause him to mess up his entry to the corner, but then also make sure that Grant didn't get to his inside. That time through 1 and 2, that 72 looked awfully loose. Might be something to keep an eye on during the course of this race. Mentioned it's 3 times wear, which means that the tires wear down 3 times more than they normally would. And being a short track, I think we can pretty much guarantee that towards the end of a fuel run, these drivers are going to be clamoring for rear grip, trying to get the power down as they exit off the corner.
Totally different topic here. That was a really nice looking paint scheme on the 39 of Josh Metallic.
Little IndyCar tribute there. I don't remember exactly which driver it was a throwback to, but Metallic has had this scheme for a number of seasons. Trying to hold off Captain America behind him and Jeff Supta in the 11. Ulysses Sandoval not that far behind, currently in the 3rd position. Josh coming into tonight. Currently in the 31st position. Has only made 1 previous start this season, so not sure if he is officially on a part-time schedule here, or maybe now he's finding the time to be able to race the second half of this season. For Josh, here tonight, a trip to victory lane would be a step in the right direction. 12 drivers will get into the playoffs via top 12 in the standings, regardless if they have a win or not. But then any drivers that are situated between 13th and 20th in points in the end of the regular season have a victory, they would get into the playoffs as well via a wild card spot. So if indeed the schedule is open for Metallic to run the rest of the regular season, you gotta think race victory is top of his list, especially since he started tonight with the best track position you can get.
Absolutely, but at the same time, I feel like anytime you have an opportunity to go for the win, you just want to do that because it always feels good to win a race, whether you're part-time or full-time. He's going to push as hard as he can, as it looks like Grant Wesley has got by the 72 of Jim Glaude.
Yeah, speaking of pushing as hard as you can, top 3 have gapped 4th place on back. Last time by, our scoring interval showed about a 2nd and 2/10 between Ulysses Sandoval. And this battle now for the 4th position as Grant will complete the pass around that 007 Napa Chevrolet Camaro. And here comes Jim Glaude to try and take advantage as well, move his way up into the top 5. Dave Melson starting to close in on this battle.
Yeah, the longer this battle goes between this three, this is for, you said 4th place?
This would not be for 5th.
Yeah, so this battle here is allowing other cars to try to gain on the pack a little bit here, and obviously it's going to take a bit more of an effort to actually try and gain on the top 3, but Dave Melson has worked his way up here.
Saw him have his left sides down almost below the yellow line that time through 1 and 2. Not the easiest track to pass at, because that car on the outside can do what we call diamond the corner, can enter low, let it drift up a little off the corner, and then pinch you down on corner exit. Melson will clear, and he will move into P6. Of course, Dave along with Grant and Jeff all trying to close up on Jeremy Jeffries for that points lead. Melson came into tonight 31 points back, 4th in the standings. Been a very good, consistent season so far for the driver of the Wendy's Chevrolet. And we've had an exchange for the lead.
We have.
Supta getting by Metallic, now under pressure by Ulysses Sandoval. Gotta wonder if maybe that was a case of Metallic using up his stuff here. Supta and Sandoval able to gauge themselves off of the 39, save a little bit more for the longer portion of this run. And now taking
Wesley is caught
advantage.
here too.
Yeah, 4-car battle here. Probably about, visually I'd say maybe half a second separation. We'll see what scoring says this time by. It was about 8.5 tenths of a second the previous lap, but I think it's a lot closer than that this time by.
So just like that, we've got top 4 battle here. 4-car battle here for the lead, I should say. Just taking it for now, but patience definitely paid off.
Supta still searching for his first win on the season. 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, as well as a pole position in the first 4 races of season 67. Still a 0 in the win column. Would like to change that here tonight. We mentioned about the fact that last season, this race came down to fuel strategy. Most everybody had to come to pit road, top off the fuel tank to make it to the end of the race. One driver did not. The fuel savant, Brian Schilling, was able to make it on fumes and pick up a victory that night. He is not in the field here this evening, so we'll have to see, depending on circumstances, whether we end up running green all the way or maybe see a caution or two at interesting portions of the race, if indeed it may come down to a very close fuel strategy race again here tonight. Checking the ticker here, that battle for the Challenger win may be closing up. Doug Cady right now has slipped back to the 8th position. Glenn Harris is trying to work his way up into the top 10. He was in 10th just moments ago. The 75 of Andre Charest got around him, but they're not that far away on the scoring pile-on, so this battle may continue to rage on during the course of the evening as Harris very wide up there into turn 3. Going to open the door for more drivers to go by. That's Terry Bombard in the 10, Richard Martin in the 43.
That camera angle played with me for a second there. I thought for a brief moment they were about to take it 3 wide, but get around the 43 here.
Saw Wesley working over Metallic before we cut back to that battle. He has since gotten around the 39, move him up to P3. A couple of the drivers at the tail end of the field here, Bobby Farrell, Jeff Crivello just now making their way out of turn 4. Looks like there's still a bit of track between them and the race leader, Jeff Supta, but only maybe about 10-15 laps away from when they're going to have to start thinking about lap traffic. That'd be right around the time when these drivers are going to have to start thinking about coming to pit lane. We've been told that roughly around 36 laps is the max that you can make it on a tank of fuel, and we are already 2/3 of the way through that distance.
And we're getting close there, so I'm sure that's going to be in the back of some people's minds, and that should be an interesting strategy to follow, especially amongst this top four. Do they all pit at the same time, or does somebody have any different ideas?
Just looking right now at lap times of our front runners. Most of them, their fastest laps of the night run somewhere in the vicinity of the 23.7s. They've now backed that down to nearly a half second slower. Many in the high 24.2s, some in the low 24.3s, as here comes Wesley now to the inside of Sandoval, and he will move into the second spot.
I might be getting flashbacks soon to the Aero 88 season that we called. The second half of the last Aero 88 season, we saw Grant Wesley, Jeff Supta, and that epic points battle that came down to the wire, and right now they're the top two. They could be battling for the lead not too long from now.
And I think right now, if you're the field, you're a little worried that 88 is showing the long run pace that he is. Started 5th, fell back to 6th, and now in a matter of 25 some odd laps, has worked his way up into 2nd place. And we'll keep an eye on lap times here. That time by, souped across the line, 24.312. Wesley clocks in with a 24.234. So not only has he been able to preserve his tires for the long run, but he's still keeping a pretty blistering pace while doing so.
A lot of people probably not wanting to see that, especially that they're a little bit further back in the points, because Grant Wesley, Jeff Supta, they're separated by 1 point, and with Jeremy Jeffries not in the field tonight, these two have a golden opportunity right now to really decrease this gap in the point standings. So good finish for either one of these two would do them wonders for the season so far.
We're just checking there on the 7 of Cy Jones, scoring. Currently showing him 2 laps down. I believe he's actually made a pit stop, about maybe 6-7 laps shy of when we'll expect to see most everybody on pit lane. And you brought up the point of, would we see everybody on pit road all together? There could be some drivers, specifically those up here towards the front, that might try the art of what we call the undercut. Obviously, the tires are extremely worn out at this point. We've gone nearly the entire fuel run. If you can come down pit road, get even that 1 or 2 lap advantage on fresher tires on your out lap, it could be the difference maker between you maybe still being in the 2nd position once things cycle, or maybe being the race leader. Richard Martin on pit road in that brightly colored yellow and green John Deere Chevrolet.
Another nice looking paint scheme there.
Looks like Jim Gloud has also hit pit road, and here comes Metallic.
First of our 4 race leaders that we were keeping an eye on.
Saw him out in front for the first 13 laps of this race before giving the lead up to Jeff Supta. Arguably, of the front runners, may have used up his tires the most, so no surprise to see him one of the first ones of the leaders onto pit road. There you see him going around Glenn Harris. Also on the pit lane, Dave Melson going to come in from inside of the top 5, or actually he's just now leaving pit road. And we've got a caution.
Out.
And that might have been why Melson didn't pit. I'm pretty sure he just passed through pit road.
Yeah, I was going to say for a second, too, it looked like Melson didn't even make his pit stop. I watched the exit of pit road go by. I wasn't totally sure what happened, but the caution is out. And I think we were looking at... I forget which car it was. We were looking at a car that had smoke coming from behind.
Might have potentially been the 84 Dante Ricky.
Like Bobby Farrell, maybe, too. I don't know. Dante Ricky's around right here.
Oh. We had just shown Demar on pit lane making his stop. As he's coming off of pit road, I think Dante's planning on coming in, and unfortunately these cars don't have turn signals on the back end.
No, they don't. little miscommunication there, but thankfully it looks like Ricky was able to avoid any major contact. That could have obviously been a lot worse if he went into that inside wall there, but managed to keep it straight. Or get it back straight, I should say.
We'll take another camera angle of it here. Sliding right past our stationary camera there into turn 3, and yeah, to your point, very, very fortunate, because there were, as you see right there, there were a number of drivers that were going to be entering into the vicinity of the corner, and if the 84 slides any further up the racetrack, there may have been a number of other innocent victims involved. One thing about the timing of this yellow is right in the middle of green flag pit stops. Granted, not everybody had come down pit road, but there is going to be some shuffling here of trying to figure out who is positioned where in regards to who's going to be the lucky dog drivers, who may be eligible for a wave around. Looks like pits were open and the leaders came down last time by. Grant Wesley getting out ahead of Jeff Supta, so he will be the new race leader once we go green. It's like Ulysses Sandoval stayed out to lead a lap, pitted second time by. Dante Ricky pitting second time by as well. See Jim Gloud coming around the outside here. Looks like maybe he and Bobby Farrell have been designated the lucky dog drivers. Terry Bombard, Glenn Harris being ahead of the race leader. They're going to take the wave around, so scoring should update to have 18 of our 20 drivers on the lead lap when we go back green.
Keep my eye on Doug Katie here on this restart as well. He's back up to 4th now. Might be one of the best shots that he gets at Wesley and Supta for the night.
Two things that stand out to me here with this restart. First one is we are going to be 13 laps away from halfway when the top 10 will be earning stage points. Now, they do not throw the caution for the halfway point. They run through it, but at the completion of lap 50, top 10 drivers are going to get stage points. The other thing is you kind of consider that what we'll call a median of 35 lap window. That puts us at lap 72 past the lap 64 mark that we were told if you pit from that point on, you can make it the rest of the way. So technically, we're looking at one stop to the finish. Green flag back in the air. Wesley, Supta, Hagelin, Katie, Mahjong. That was your top 5 as they crossed the line. Closest everybody has been since the drop of the green flag to start this race. Things got spread out. We got into a start of green flag pit stop cycles. And these two, I don't think they're saving it all right now. Both fighting tooth and nail to have that clean air.
Yeah, Wesley having the preferred line will help him for the time being, but not going to lose Supta that easily. Now Supta's going to get the run. He's going to go to the inside. He's going to take the lead right back from Wesley. He went really wide into that turn.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was Wesley missing the corner or if he saw Supta make the move and said, all right, you can have it, because we saw Wesley have a really good long-run car on that first stint. How about Andre Mahjong coming up here as we approach the second half of this race? Currently holding down the 3rd position, looking really good. That Godzilla-sponsored number 27 Dodge. I believe he is one of 2 Dodges in the field tonight. I believe the other one is Dave Robbins. So nice to see some Dodge representation. Of course, Dodge going to be making its return to NASCAR in the Truck Series here in 2026.
Just enjoy seeing creativity on the next gen mod that we have here as it is. I mean, I feel like that this mod, you know, with the 4th car model allows people to kind of get a little bit more creative and paint some unique schemes, unique car bodies. I like to see Dodge being shown here, some creativity out of the people in this community, and obviously with them making their return to NASCAR. Oh boy, look out.
We drop back here to Godfrey because he pounded the wall off of 2, and now he's going to nose it into the wall. They're going into 4. Contact with Bobby Farrell, and that's going to bring out the second caution of the night. I believe. Yes, it will. Back around the 10th position where the initial contact took place. This will help both Richard Martin and Cy Jones, who are multiple laps down. They're the only 2 drivers off the lead lap, so they'll end up getting the free passes. Should put Richard Martin back to -1, Glenn to -3. Let's take you all the way back here to turn 2, because this is where really all this started for Godfrey.
They're running a little bit wide. You mentioned he got into the wall. And I just don't think, I think he got a little bit too low on the racetrack there trying to recover it, and then bumped into 2 cars in that second contact. He was already kind of losing control there, and then that second bit of contact put him in the wall.
Certainly looked like after the contact with Melson, he was trying to save it. The car was almost in the process of coming around on him. And then that follow-up contact between himself and Jim Glaude eventually sends the thing redirected back up into the outside wall. Now it is moderate damage, and this is a short track, so normally the impact isn't nearly as bad as if we were at, say, 1.5 miles or, heaven forbid, a super speedway. But it will be interesting to see how that may potentially affect the 7-Eleven aero-wise for the remainder of this race. Everyone came down pit road here, taking advantage of fresh tires, and the last time they pit, Wesley's team was able to beat out the 11th, this time by reverse rolls. Supta holds serve against Wesley.
There you go. It's that battle on pit road, all the more interesting, but all the more important, especially if this race comes down to that pit strategy at the end. That last pit stop is going to be vital.
Now, I know some of this is in relation to the timing of that first caution when it fell. I give a shout out to a couple of guys here as we approach the halfway point that have really been able to make the most of what was initially at the start lack of track position. We already highlighted Andre Mahjong. What we didn't mention is, as he's up here currently on the podium, he took the green flag all the way back in the 17th position. And just a couple of cars behind him, Bob LaChance now going to cycle into the 5th spot. He started even further back, 19th place. So great job for both of those drivers to pick up the track position they have with still half the race to go.
That's why you keep chugging along during a race. You never know what is going to happen. It might feel like you don't get the best starting position in the world, or it might feel like you're lagging behind everybody, just kind of stuck riding around in the back, but keep soldiering along. You never know what can happen.
Saw the 36 of Jeff Crivello, that Bazooka Chevrolet. Stay out, lead a lap, make his way to pit road. So he's got that bonus point in his hip pocket as DeMar will pick up a lap right there. We should see Cy Jones coming around here momentarily as well. There he is to get one of his laps back. And I wondered if we were going to get the lights out, because when they take the green this time by, 3 laps to go till we reach the halfway point. Not only are there 10 stage points up for grabs to the winner that crosses the line P1 at the halfway point, but a valuable playoff point as well when the playoff standings are reformatted after race 9. Looks like they're trying to get organized back there around 7th place on back. Now they've got it. As they'll get themselves lined up double file. Supta and Wesley, they raced each other hard on that previous restart. Let's see what happens this time.
Seen them race each other hard quite a lot. Like Wesley got the better restart on the outside. Supta's going to have the preferred line, though.
Wesley trying to stay to that right rear quarter panel. He can get the rotation through the center off, but right there, That's where the inside line prevails. Able to drive it deep into the corner. Look at Wesley with the
Ooh.
crossover.
That was awful close to contact, but he managed to keep it clean, keep it off the rear of Supta. He's going to have him for the race lead. I think the 27 might want something to say about this as well.
Yeah, Mahjong looking on saying, hey, if you guys want to make some contact, I'll be glad to move by the both of you and pick up this stage win. As this time by will be the proverbial white flag to the halfway point. 10 points up for grabs and a playoff point to the winner of the stage. Whoa, Supta looked really loose there up on that outside line.
Oh,
Here
boy.
comes Andre.
Everybody wants that stage win. Andre not going to think about taking it 3 wide or anything like that. It looks like Grant Wesley is going to have the stage win in the bag.
By just a little under a car length. We stay green, but Wesley, those are 10 valuable stage points, a valuable playoff point as well as he continues to try and close up the 24-point gap between himself and Jeremy Jeffries coming into tonight. And now Supta with the crossover, and I almost wonder if this is going to be Grant saying, all right, I got that job done. Now let the 11 on by. I'll try and slot in line again and save these tires for the long run.
Not just tires, but fuel as well, because he's not leading the race anymore. He doesn't necessarily have to work as hard as some other cars. He can maybe try and get the run from somebody and not have to push his car as harder as the race leaders would. So Wesley going to fall back in line after taking that stage win.
Nearly made contact right there with Bob LaChance, who got a little loose off of turn 4. Wesley was nearly into his left rear quarter panel. As they'll battle side by side for that 4th position. Ron Hagelin entering into that conversation. Josh Metallic got around all 3 of them. The pole sitter back on the charge as he's worked his way up to 3rd. He restarted back in the 8th position. So great launch after going back green for the driver of the 39. An eye back here, see about drivers that have had some issues here during the course of the night. Dante Ricky, we saw him have that spin after he and Richard Martin got together, intersecting lanes with Martin leaving pit road, Dante entering pit road. No visible damage on that race car, but obviously loss of track position. He's currently mired back in P12. Looks like the 711 of John Godfrey's up to speed. He's still here racing with some drivers. Following in the tire tracks of Richard Martin, just ahead of Dave Robbins. P16 right now for Godfrey.
Said it earlier, Godfrey, obviously that was unfortunate what happened to him earlier, but again, if you just keep on chugging, you never know what could happen there. Could be another caution, something else that gets you right back into the mix.
Andre Mahjong had his hands full that time through 3 and 4. Saw the back end of the car starting to step out. Now we're seeing these drivers be able to recover. That doesn't do that right rear tire any favors. Metallic closing up on that 27 for 2nd place.
Gonna say Metallic is right back up here in the mix. Caution's out.
And there's smoke right there up into turn 3. Not rightly sure who it would have been. Most everybody is still pointing in the right direction.
Was it Grant Wesley? I don't see his car.
No, it was
there he
not
is.
Grant.
Okay.
I think it might have been the 96 of Dave Robbins. I think a big reason why we don't see the car involved is he has already taken his car to pit road and to the garage area. So we'll get a camera on him via our replay, see what exactly happened to him. Looks like it was more than likely on the entrance of turn 3 just based off of the skid marks. Trying to find him.
Oh, 3 wide
Oh,
for a minute.
that's a tough spot.
Yeah.
Had Crivello to his inside, the closing rate up there to Farrell. You could see the car jolt forward. He was clearly on the brakes trying to slow down. And it may have actually unloaded the rear end of the car, sending him around. Yeah, you just see the slightest contact with Farrell.
And the wall, that looked like a harder hit to the wall, honestly, and that's probably why he decided that that's the end of his race.
Adam Petty throwback there of Bobby Farrell, backing it up into the outside wall as well. Some pretty good contact with the right side of his machine. Let's go on board and listen with the 96. I mean, short tracks obviously have heavy braking zones on entry, and this was a tough spot to be if you were Dave Robbins. Just here, right there, you hear him on the brake and then wanting to let the car roll through the center and just couldn't account for that quick closing rate there. Did everything he could to stay off the back of Farrell.
It's really tricky when that situation was there. It looked in the heat of the moment like they were almost 3 wide. It was hard to tell from that onboard angle, but we're pretty close to that.
And as we cut it back to live, new race leader, Josh Metallic. So this is interesting. Josh was up in 3rd place. I'm assuming that everyone went with a 4-tire strategy, but that number 1 pit stall for qualifying on the pole may have been the difference maker into him being able to leapfrog not only the 27 for 2nd, but also Supta for the race lead. Also interesting, remember that number we were given? That if you get to that point, you can make it the rest of the way? Lap 64, we're just a couple laps shy. So, not trying to predict the future here, but last season, it came down to fumes for the race winner, Brian Schilling here. Could these drivers maybe be thinking fuel save the rest of the way just in case that was the last caution we see tonight?
It could very well be the case. I mean, the fact that we were that close to it, it was we were that close to that number, and then they are going to have this restart right now that close. I mean, who knows? It's been a close race, though, either way. I've loved watching this back-and-forth battle that we've had at the front between. Really, I think there have been 4 or 5 cars that have been up here in the mix, so this has been fun to watch.
Metallic has led 15, now make it 16 laps here tonight, most of it during the beginning portions of this race. He'll get the field back under green and leave them stacked up double wide. For a second, we got split at the back. Several drivers around, including Andre Charest, Ron Hagelin, Jim Gloud. There may have been a 4th and 5th driver involved in that, and the caution immediately will come back out.
Now they are going to get another chance to go to pit road if they want to.
There's most of the drivers right there that were spun around off of turn 2, the 111, the 72, the 75. Doesn't look like a whole lot of damage sustained. So we can take you back to the exit of turn 2 and see exactly what started this.
Oh, Hagelin just got a little bit too loose there.
Looks like about 5 drivers involved there. I think, was Hagelin the only non-Ford? I think all the rest of them were blue ovals. The 72,
I think there was
the 75,
one...
the 10, and the 92.
I thought I saw at least one other Chevy. I could be wrong.
There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Nope, he was the only non-Ford.
I got a whole bunch of Fords with that one.
Manufacturer team orders? No, I'm kidding. Now we go back and we'll take another angle of this as well. when the contact is made between Hagelin and Dave Melson, one of the biggest problems with short track racing is right there. Hagelin's out of the throttle. He knows the car is drifting up, so he's out of the throttle to avoid hitting Melson. And when you're out of the throttle at tracks like this, especially through the center of the corner, the back end of the car gets light. So Hagelin's doing everything he can, not only to not drift up into the lane that Melson's in, but also to make sure that the back end of the car stays planted underneath him so that way it doesn't loop around. But tell you what, with how close we were up towards the front of the field and how many drivers were collected up in that, very fortunate that we got away with literally just a bunch of self-spinning that didn't look like there was any major contact sustained by any of the drivers involved.
Yeah, I mean, there was some contact because of how close everyone was together, but that's basically what you get at this size of a track. But I think for the most part, like you said, everybody managed to kind of avoid that major contact. Nobody really hit the wall or anything like that, so everybody is still in the thick of it.
And we have a major development that just occurred about a lap ago. This is cutting back to lap 64. Grant Wesley running in 4th position, and watch right here, the car loses power. He's out of the race. An engine clutch just let go on the driver, 2nd in points.
Wow. That is massive. That's your engine. That has to be demoralizing as well, because that's under pacing as well.
So Grant, who had managed
tough
to get
break.
himself to the front, lead 6 laps in this race, had the stage victory at the midway point. Now, all those points he thought he was going to gain on Jeremy Jeffries, he's going to be maybe giving some of them back here, as scoring shows that he's going to finish 19th place here tonight. A car that was certainly in the running for picking up his 2nd win on the season.
Yeah, that's such a tough break, too, because now, I mean, you look at the points, he's not that far ahead of guys like Jeff Supta, Dave Melson, Denny Carroll, Brian Schilling, so Grant's going to lose not just ground to the leader, but he's more than certainly going to lose out on 2nd.
Tough break there for Grant. He'll look to rebound next week when these drivers will be heading to a super speedway, Daytona. We know Grant's pretty good at those tracks. I think he'll have a fair shot of winning there as we get ready to go back green. Metallic, Supta, Mahjong, LaChance, all the first 2 rows. Point of note, we did have about half the field come down pit road, top off, and put on fresh tires, but most of the leaders stayed out, feeling that they may have enough fuel now to get to the end.
Nearly had another 3 wide moment. It looked like Ulysses Sandoval went to the bottom trying to make a move there. Didn't go 3 wide, but trying to get to the inside again. Mahjong is going to look out for that 96 car.
Oh, 27 to Mahjong down into Sandoval. He's going to save it. That car did not look happy, even at the drop of the green flag. That's another thing, too, with a lot of those guys staying out. Those tires started cooling down, so you don't have that grip to rely upon that you would if you'd come down and taken on fresh rubber. The tire temps are going to be a lot cooler. Car's going to be a lot slidier through the center of the corner, and we just saw that there with Mahjong, who was up in the 3rd position. We'll have to see where scoring has him now, but he's well outside of the top 10.
I mean, he fell quite a ways back, and with him having to be on the brakes that whole time, everybody was able to kind of fly right by him. I don't know where he recovered, so see how it all shakes out for that car, but that's a tough break regardless, because that takes him from being in contention for the race to win to now trying to fight your way through the field.
17th is where he dropped to. Last car on the lead lap. Cy Jones right behind him is the only driver off the lead lap, -1. Demar actually has gotten all of his laps back now with these yellow flags. He's back battling for position, currently in 11th spot. And here comes Supta, looking to the inside of Metallic. We saw these two battling it out at the beginning stages of this race. Now as we enter into the final hours of tonight's event, he's going to make the pass on the 39 again. And look who's up to 3rd. Driver that brought out the first caution of the night got spun around off the nose of Richard Martin, and Dante Ricky now in the conversation for this checkered flag.
I have said it earlier, I've said it a lot before, and I'll say it again. This is exactly why you keep soldiering along in a race. You never know what is going to happen. You never know that when someone else that's ahead of you is going to run into some misfortune, like what happened with Grant Wesley, and Dante Ricky has taken full advantage of that. Now right up here in the mix.
Jim Glau just a couple cars back as well. We saw him end up losing a lap on pit road when Dante had his moment. Jim had made a pit stop, got the free pass, patiently has worked his way now back up into a top 5 position. We may not have heard the last of that mellow yellow number 72 Ford Dark Horse Mustang as Supta starts to open up some daylight between himself and Josh Metallic. Want to remind everybody that we're going to be back here with the Barebones Racing Series in 2 weeks' time. February 16th, we'll be bringing you coverage of race number 7 from the 1997 version of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. They'll be running Daytona in the interim. And we're also going to be covering Rolling Thunder Gaming this Friday night, as we are going to be bringing you coverage of the Enduro race from Mansfield 06, the Dano Memorial for the RTG Amish's Survivor Series. So looking forward to that one. If you've never seen an endurance race here at RTG, it's not the endurance race that you would think of. It is a survival fest as per se, but there's going to be a number of what are referred to as Dannies out on the racetrack, a number of AI cars that are going to be trying to play havoc with the rest of the field, so sure to tune in for that one.
Nobody likes AI, come on.
So we're assuming that everybody here should be able to make it on fuel. We were just outside of the window prior to the last caution. Everybody clutching during the last caution period to try and make it the rest of the distance. Fuel potentially not a concern, but tires certainly are going to be. We ended up seeing what happened with Metallic during that first long green flag run, how he faded back, how Grant Wesley was able to charge his way forward. Now everybody's got to be in long run mode here, because you don't want to end up using your stuff too much that you free fall in the closing stages of this race.
Absolutely not. You really want to pace yourself, especially if you're in a situation like Supta is, where he has a considerable lead over the field. You can't get it into your head yet that this race is won. And I know Supta's a guy that definitely won't be thinking that, actually, because considering, again, I talked about how he had that battle with Grant Wesley in the Aero 88 season last season, so he kept telling us right up until the end of the season he was not feeling very confident until he finally got that last checkered flag at the end of the season. So you know that Supta's definitely thinking about those cars that are right behind him that are going to be working their way closer and closer. He's not going to be comfortable until he sees the checkered flag.
Couple laps away from leading 50 laps here tonight is Jeff Supta. And it's interesting here too, as we're kind of talking about this potentially being a fuel race to the end. We've talked to Jeff in the past, and by his own admission, he said, I'm one of the worst when it comes to saving fuel. So we saw that gap that he had opened up to Metallic. I'm noticing it close a little bit. I don't know if that's more so the 39 starting to reel in the 11, or maybe the 11 backing his pace down just a little bit to make sure that he's got some security in the tank if it gets really close to number crunching. A number of drivers. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this has been a really good run for Sandoval as well. He's worked his way back from the 4th.
And I was just going to touch on that too. I mean, you know, Dante Ricky, Josh Metallic, Ulysses Sandoval, they've made limited starts here in the early portion of this season, but all up here in the conversation, currently in the top 5, 2nd through 4th. Trying to see if maybe they can catch that 11 of Jeff Supta. Let's ride on board with the 11. See if we can hear anything of him trying to save. Obviously, the pace is back down a bit. Sounds like at least he's waiting on the throttle a little bit longer there. I don't hear him throwing in the clutch at all. Meanwhile, car behind him, Josh Metallic. He is visibly closing. It's not by much. It's small increments every lap, but with 13 laps still left to work with, Metallic may have Supta right where he wants him.
He very well could. Like you said, the gains are not very massive, but if you are consistently gaining lap after lap after lap, you could be in a close enough position to the point where you might be able to get some help. They're running right behind them, and then from that point, all bets are off, honestly.
Yeah, Iowa is a track, much like any short track. I kind of liken it more to a Dover in a sense that you're not going to close up on somebody by a second a lap. You're not even going to close up on somebody by a tenth of a lap unless they end up making a major mistake. Hundreds and thousands of a lap gained is actually a plus because everybody's lap times are going to be very, very similar. And if you're able to save the tires better than the other drivers around you, those hundredths of a second, they will close you up quicker than you expect on your competition. Right now, you can see visibly, I'll be generous and say about 6 car lengths from Supta back to Metallic. And this time by, going to be 10 laps to go. If you're just joining us, Grant Wesley out of the race, will finish 19th here tonight, came in second in points. Jeremy Jeffries, who came in the points leader, not in the field here tonight. So Supta, who is leading this race, was 1 point behind Wesley for second, 25 points behind Jeffries for the points lead. Could be a big points night for driver 11. Second in the stage, has led the most laps, so he's got that bonus point wrapped up and looking for another 5 bonus points for picking up his first win on the season.
It is absolutely not over, though. Metallic is getting closer and closer, and he's got some of the help from the cars that are right behind him as well, so this could come down to the wire. There might be more than just these last two involved in this conversation if they keep gaining.
Supta, the lone Chevrolet in the top 5. Couple of Fords with Metallic and Gloud in second and fifth, and then Toyotas make up the rest of it, third and fourth with Dante Ricky and Ulysses Sandoval. Jeff Supta hoping and praying that these laps tick away quickly because, yes, to your point, the 39 in Metallic, those last couple of laps, he has been consistently faster than the 11.
It could really come down to a matter of whether or not Metallic ends up running out of racetrack versus whether or not Supta can stay out in front of their consistent lap times. I mean, Supta's out. He's had this large gap with the race lead for long enough to the point where it might not necessarily be enough for Metallic.
See Cy Jones down at the bottom of the racetrack. I believe he's purposely going down there to get out of the way of the race leader so they wouldn't encounter him through the corner. I'm also noticing 2 distinct lines being run by the top 2. Supta, he'll enter low, let it drift high here up towards the second groove, and then exit low. Metallic's doing the opposite. He's entering high, diving it low through the center of the corner, and then letting it right up off the corner towards the wall on exit. Boy, that gap is agonizingly close if you're Metallic, but now you may have to shift your attention to the rearview mirror because here comes Dante Ricky looking for the runner-up spot.
I mean, Dante Ricky, he's been patient. He hasn't really tried to make any moves on Metallic just yet. At the same time, at some point, the closer and closer we get to the end of this race, he might be thinking less about cooperating and working with everybody to try to get closer to leader. He might be thinking about stealing those second place points for himself.
Next time by will be at 3 laps to go. I do believe that once we cross the line, next flag will end the race. If the caution came out before the white flag waved, I think the race would end under yellow. Hopefully we don't see that as there's a great battle brewing for the second spot. Metallic, Ricky, and don't count out Sandoval. He could make it a 3-man fight. And maybe this battling is going to cause these guys to push each other so hard they actually do close up the gap on Supta and make it a 4-man fight for the race win.
That could happen. I mean, we're going to have 2 to go this time by, but Metalik is still gaining. I don't think he's close enough. I mean, he's awful close, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get to his back bumper in time. And if he does, it might be too little too late.
Coming into tonight, Jeff Supta, in the first 4 races of the season, had only led 27 laps. He will triple that total easily this evening, as he is en route to lead 60-plus laps tonight. White flag is in the air. Here's Metalik with one last shot. Little wide through 1 and 2, trying to get that drive off the corner. Does he have anything for 3?
Gonna push as hard as he can, but again, I just don't think he has enough racetrack left.
It's gonna be maybe about a car length the distance, but Jeff Supta is going to hang on. He will pick up his first win of the season here tonight, taking the checkered flag at Iowa Speedway. It's a big win for several reasons for Supta. Not only it now replaces the 0 in the win column here for season 67, but man, what a gain he is going to have on both Jeremy Jeffries and Grant Wesley for that points lead going into the wild card race at Daytona next week.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely will get ahead of Grant Wesley for second. I don't know how close he's going to be to Jeremy Jeffries for the points lead, but he's certainly made the gap a lot smaller with such a huge points haul as you kept talking about that day.
I'm not exactly 100% certain how much gets paid out for provisionals, but we did have 20 drivers who took the green flag here tonight. Also calculate into the equation that Jeff Supta picked up 9 points for finishing second in the stage. Jeffries would get none. And also the 5 bonus points for winning the race here tonight. So to your point, I think it's too early to say. We'll potentially have the points available before we close out our broadcast tonight, but potentially you might be looking at your new points leader going into next week, and that car might actually have been out of fuel. It might have been literally 1 lap to the good for most of these drivers. I don't think he even had enough fuel to be able to do a burnout, but hey, you do the celebrating in victory lane here as Supta will be the winner tonight. Josh Metalik second. Dante Ricky in third. We'll be talking with those podium finishers here in just a moment. Ulysses Sandoval will bring it home for fourth, and Jim Gloud will finish out the night in fifth. How about Doug Cady? Back-to-back-to-back Challenger wins here in the last 3 weeks, as he'll bring it home solidly in sixth. Terry Bombard in seventh. Dave Melson will finish in 8th with Andre Charest and Ron Hagelin completing your top 10. Richard Martin, he had to fight all night long. He was multiple laps down at one point, brings it home just outside the top 10. 11th, Andre Mahjong, saw him struggle with the car late. He'll finish 12th. Glenn Harris in 13th, John Godfrey in 14th. Jeff Cravella, Bobby Farrell will be the last drivers to finish on the lead lap. Looks like maybe Bob LaChance was not able to make it on fuel, had to make a late stop in the closing stages. He'll finish off the lead lap in 17th. Cy Jones, multiple lap down in 18th. Grant Wesley, who led a total of 6 laps here tonight, will finish out of the race in 19th after he had his clutch go under pacing. And Dave Robbins was the other driver who did not reach the conclusion. He'll finish out the evening in the 20th position. Going to be a lot of interesting storylines for these drivers going into Daytona next week. And then, of course, setting the stage for when we're back here to cover these drivers in 2 weeks' time at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I don't know if they called it Motor Speedway in 1997, but Atlanta nonetheless. That's going to take us into our FRN post-race wind-down. Let's see if we can dial up the drivers that brought it home solidly on the podium here tonight. In the Midwest short track of Iowa, let's get a hold of third-place finisher Dante Ricky.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Dante, it's the
channel.
guys up here in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Hi, Seth. Hi, Jack. I guess it's time for another post-race recap.
Certainly is. I'll tell you what, man. Jack used the word fight tonight for a number of drivers, and I think that definitely described you. You had the early issues there, a little miscommunication when you were coming to pit road, 43 coming off of pit road, all that track position lost. How in the world were you able to cut your way back up there through the field and have yourself in the conversation for this victory late?
Oh, it definitely was a fight, guys. I will give you that one because we had many issues that needed to be overcome. First and foremost, not a lot of practice time. Always good to come out on a Monday night, especially for broadcast and being a part-time schedule. Iowa's one of my favorite tracks. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 wins on this track overall, and I like it. It's difficult. You have to really be patient. You got to understand that early in a run, even on fresh tires, the car is going to be loose. And as you go on, you got to find ways to save a little tire here, save a little fuel there. And in my case, I was just taking advantage of all the people who were overdriving the racetrack. I mean, we had multiple situations. Every restart, somebody overdrives the track, causes a crash, get a caution, come back in, strategize. We're lucky we got that yellow with about, was it 42 to go? 42 to go was a good opportunity because that allowed us to make it on fuel. Problem is, if you do overdrive the car, there's a high likelihood of losing tires. And many drivers on the last lap of the race told me that they received red right front tires. I've got the, what do you call it, the little meter graphic. So I could see that I finished the race with 39% on the right front tire. Just a nice little addition from the Armory Digital team, I believe. But it helps to have that information. It helps to make sure you're not tearing the car up and keeping it clean, running a consistent line. I think I had a little bit for Josh, but it would have been really hard to beat Jeff there in the closing laps. Um, Jeff actually, he's going to tell you he sputtered coming to the start finish line, which is quite incredible. I had 3.2 pounds psi, so I wasn't sputtering yet, but one more lap and I would have been in big trouble. So it was quite an adventure to get the strategy right and come back out in front. And yeah, the situation on early in the race, the pit road exit and entry with Demar, I have no hard feelings there at all. I I basically hope that that just goes down as a simple either racing deal or my fault. I hope that Demar will be able to race next week. But again, that's up to the admins and staff to decide what happens. But beside the point, I really think it was a clean race. And, if that little miscommunication doesn't happen, there's a chance this race will have gone caution free.
We ended up seeing Jeff not have enough fuel to be able to do a burnout. So we kind of knew based off the numbers you guys were going to be close, which also meant that you guys, as you alluded to, were going to have very little in terms of grip to be able to battle with. How difficult is that when you know that you don't have that security of that Goodyear rubber underneath you in the closing stages and you always want to get that 1 or 2 positions better?
That's very tough, Seth. Even if you're in the front, up front, and leading the race, it just gets harder and harder and harder the further back you go, the more dirty air you get. And that's ultimately why it was extremely difficult to pass. And you get the top 3 finishers running the last 40 laps in the top 3. That's kind of how it works. You make your moves early in the run, and the dirty air just fills up and alleviates or continues to make the tire impact worse, especially on the right front as the run goes on. So it's part track position and part clean air. And then the third part is driver skill. What can you do to lift? What can you do to put a little more dirty air on the nose of the car behind you? And that should be the strategy of every car in front of me.
Well, a great run for you here tonight, Dante. Able to battle back to put it solidly on the podium this evening. P3 at Iowa Speedway. Congratulations on a job well done managing that fuel and tires you alluded to in the closing stages of this race. And we'll now give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yes, thanks, Seth. The first people I really want to give a shout out for tonight, Jeremy Jeffrey. Sorry he couldn't be here. I know he's going through some computer trouble. Sean Prime, Josh Metallic, Jason Sheck, all of our Rolling Thunder Gaming League owners and admins and staff, Rodney, Jeff Supta, Ron Hagelin, I guess give it to myself, Josh Grant, Tim, all the staff members that put these series on and keep this place so well organized in our modern world. I also want to give a shout out to my friends and family, everybody supporting me each day, and all my weather team at work. And at least we're hoping that we'll get above freezing sometime tomorrow, but then the snow comes right back and we just can't catch a break. We've been at least 190, in fact, at this point, closing in on 200 hours straight of temperatures below freezing. If you didn't count last Sunday, that would be more like 248 hours consecutive. But obviously, you have to count by accuracy, and that's the only way we're able to keep our credibility. So I will say that it's an honor to be a part of this league, and hope to continue to perform on these speedways. And what we need to do is we need to get a super speedway win before the end of the season. So much for these races. I enjoy them, and this is my bread and butter, basically, the speedway races. I'm very consistent and I perform well, but the goal needs to be to get a super speedway win before the end of the season. Without that, I'm going to be devastated and disappointed.
Well, you got a shot at that super speedway victory next week when you guys head to the high banks of Daytona. Some good momentum going into that race with that podium finish here
Yes,
tonight at Iowa, Dante. So,
we're going to try to forget about last year's Daytona race.
well, there you
I'll
go.
just put it that way.
All right. Well, congratulations on the great run here tonight, and yeah, best of luck next week. Maybe in 2 weeks' time when we're back at Atlanta, if we get a chance to talk to you. We talked to you as a race winner here in season 67.
Yep, Atlanta's another really great track, really tough one, and as you know, one of my best. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of opportunities here. Thank you guys. Always do a great job.
Appreciate it. That's Dante Ricky. Brings it home third place here
User was
tonight. A
moved
bit of
out
a
of your
comeback
channel.
run there in the second half of this race after some early adversity that brought out the first caution of the night. Let's even get a hold of the driver that started this race from the pole position, led 23 laps, brings it home in the runner-up spot. Let's dial up second place finisher Josh Metallic.
User was moved to your
Hey
channel.
Josh, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Got a copy.
Great run for you here tonight. Great track position, obviously, by gaining the pole. We ended up seeing it pay some dividends for you on one of those yellow flag pit stop cycles, but it seemed like here tonight it was all about who could save the tires the most. We saw you closing up the gap there on the 11. Now it's sounding like that was maybe just as much about fuel as it was about tires. How much security did you have in the tank?
Yeah, I wasn't sure which would go first, my right front or the fuel tank. And I crossed the line on fumes. And if I'd gone another lap, I don't know if that tire would have lasted. So, yeah, I was the first run of the race. I really never did a full tire run. And I got about halfway through and I'm like, oh, crap. This isn't, I'm overdriving it and, faded, trying to save tires. And, went to pit and I'm about 2 boxes from my pit stall and the yellow comes out. So I had to drive through the pit lane, restart the back, and then just, slowly work your way back through. But yeah, I didn't think I was going to make it on tires anyway. So I wasn't too worried about the fuel. I thought about splitting the run and then, yeah, made a better effort, did better at saving tires. And as I was saving tires and letting off early, I'm saving fuel. So it all worked out in the end.
So at the end of that race, you kind of had your vision split. You're closing up on the 11, but at the same time, you got the 84 closing on your back bumper. So how difficult was it to kind of balance those two different priorities?
Yeah, he was doing to me what I was trying to do to Supta, and I don't think it worked in the end, obviously. But I wanted to try to push him at least, not save fuel, not save tires, and well, I'm trying to do that. Dante's pressuring me, so then I start picking up my pace, and that makes me worry about the right front more. So yeah, I thought a couple times he's going to get around me if I didn't, just nail the turns just right, entry just right. But yeah, I think he had better tires in the end than I did. I think everyone was saving up tires better than I was up there, but luckily ran out of laps. They couldn't get around me.
We were talking just moments ago with Dante. Obviously, he and yourself have only made a limited number of starts here in the early portion of the season. But Dante was talking about how the good finish tonight could maybe help in terms of momentum going into next week, a super speedway at Daytona. Or even the same mindset that this second place run might be able to help in terms of momentum going into next week's race.
It could. It just takes one bad move at one bad time. You can have 5 races going great in a row, and then something happens. So you're only as good as your last race. Momentum and all that stuff. It changes your mindset. When you feel like you can win, you drive like you can, and So yeah, Daytona will be interesting. It's a little tighter than Talladega. It looks the same, but it drives quite a bit different as far as handling and how much room you have. So it's always a fun track.
Well, Josh, a great run for you here tonight, up front all night long. Bringing it home solidly on the podium this evening at Iowa in P2. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Jeremy. He couldn't make it tonight, and Grant with his blown motor. Those two things combined left me on the podium. So appreciate them having their misfortunes tonight. But no, I feel bad for Grant, and I know Jeremy was hoping to make it. So and then Sean Prime helped out. Eye in the sky. So appreciate all those guys. Soup to basically did the head admin role tonight. So thanks to him. All the drivers that show up, made a lot of donations last month and been able to put some of these races on TV. So appreciate the drivers that show up and donate. And thanks to you guys for broadcasting.
Well, a great run for you here tonight, Josh. Congratulations on the podium finish at Iowa, and best of luck next week at Daytona, the remainder of this regular season.
Thank you.
Josh Metallic going to bring it home with a solid outing
User
here
was
this
moved out of
evening.
your channel.
Closed up on a car that we are understanding now was running out of fuel on that final lap. Let's see if we can dial up the driver that had just enough to get to the end. His first win of the season. Let's get a hold of Jeff Supta.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Jeff,
channel.
it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Man, I'll tell you what. Difficult situation here tonight in the closing stages. We knew that we were going to be right on the edge of your guys' fuel number. We knew the tires were going to be worn. We ended up seeing drivers start closing up the distance between you on those final 5 to 10 laps, and we understand this thing was sputtering as you crossed the line to take the checkered flag. A lot of information for a driver to take in the closing stages of this race.
Yeah, going into that last run, I had no clue where we were. I thought we had to pit 2, 3 more times, honestly. So I was just I didn't even look until halfway through the run and it said splash. And I went, oh boy. So then I had to back it off and get in a little late. So trying to save fuel. And I never got it out of splash. I did the best I could. And if I hadn't done that, I would have run out with one to go at the white flag. So yeah, I was so lucky.
The timing of these yellows were very interesting, specifically the one that obviously was the last one that got us to being right on that fuel number that we were told, but the other one as well that came out around the halfway point saw that really good shootout between you and Grant Wesley for that stage victory. In that type of a situation where we know that this is a racetrack where normally drivers are going to back the pace down, try and preserve the tires, but at that point, you got to go all out to be able to get the stage win. How difficult is it to switch from maybe 110% and then dial it back once you guys have finally crossed halfway?
Well, honestly, the beginning of every run, I ended up having to run a little harder than I wanted to. And to be completely honest, hold on a second. Yeah, that run going to halfway, to be totally honest, I had no clue it was there. And I thought just me and Grant were racing hard until afterwards he said, sorry, I had to go for those stage points. And again, we're our own crew chiefs, and I fell asleep.
Well, you get the victory here tonight. You're going to have yourself, obviously, some bonus points for getting the victory. You also pick up some valuable stage points. You also get your first win on the season. And then no Jeremy in the field, and Grant had mechanical problems. Looks like that points gap is going to be really, really close going into next week at Daytona. So thoughts about that as we now cross the halfway point of the regular season?
Yeah, with Grant blowing his motor early and Jeremy not making the race, believe me, there's plenty of people in here who want to race. I mean, Josh can race with you. If Sean Prime was in there, he would have been right there. Grant, Jeremy, Dante, Brian Schilling, any of these guys would. But my thought process after Grant blew his motor was the two guys who hound me the most, who will give me the most trouble, are Grant and Jeremy at the end of these races. So yeah, I was happy not really happy. I'll just say relieved that I didn't have to worry about that pressure.
Well, you had a dominant car here tonight. We're able to get to the front, stay at the front, and there when it mattered the most, leading a race high 68 laps here tonight, which I would have to do the quick math in my head. I think would account now for about 70% of the laps you've led so far this season. So, dominating performance here tonight. Congratulations. We'll let you get back to your celebrating in victory lane in a moment. But before we do, we'll give you the opportunity for some race winning thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Thanks RTG, FRN, and probably the most important thing are the drivers who come out here and ridden race with us week after week. We have very faithful racers who love the league, and without them, this wouldn't be happening at any level. So I'm just thankful to have the people to race with every week.
Well, Jeff, congratulations on the victory here tonight. Your first of the season. Best of luck the remainder of this regular season, as now this win will lock you into a spot to battle for the championship.
All right, we're going to go eat some corn. Seth, Jack, have a good night.
There you go. That's Jeff Supta bringing it home with the victory here tonight. He will join Grant Wesley, Jeremy Jeffries, and Greg Palmer as a winner here in the Barebones Racing Series in Season 67. And Jack, we kind of prefaced it here tonight 1 season ago. It literally came down to fumes. We didn't quite get to there, but from what we heard across the board from our top 3, if we even maybe just had one more lap, we're not only talking about drivers maybe running out of fuel, but drivers blowing tires going into the corner. I mean, it literally came down to the wire for just about everybody.
It really did, and I honestly feel like, it's scary to think about how close it gets, because if that incident happens just a lap earlier, the end of the race could have ended in chaos. We could have seen 3 or 4 cars run out of fuel, run out of tires, have to come to pit road, something like that. We could have been having a completely different conversation. So it's crazy how close the margins are when it comes to these kind of races.
Another interesting thing, obviously, we documented during the course of the night, whether it was the start of the race or through the duration, drivers that did not participate tonight or drivers that had issues. Jeremy Jeffries, Brian Schilling not in the field here tonight. Denny Carroll as well. Grant having the engine problem. These are drivers that on Thursday nights during the Tally Challenge, we talk about consistently up at the front and going to victory lane. Next week, we are at Daytona International Speedway. It will begin the second half of this regular season. It's a lot of drivers that have a lot of super speedway experience that are going to be looking to gain some points that they may have lost here tonight.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the fact that there might be some drivers in the field that prefer those super speedway races over the standard oval races or things like that. So I feel like a lot of drivers that, aren't normally in the race winning conversations week after week, they have those super speedway dates circled on their calendar. They know that could be the 1 week that they get a win or really have enough good points to get themselves right up into this conversation near the end of the season.
Well, it is going to be a fairly busy week here on FRN, as this is the first of 3 broadcasts we'll be bringing you of races taking place here at Rolling Thunder Gaming. We're going to be this Thursday night simulcasting with Blaine Donlin and Tarnation TV, bringing you yet another race here in Season 67 for the Talladega Challenge Series. We are approaching the halfway point of the regular season there. As a matter of fact, I believe we've crossed the halfway threshold, as I believe there are only 8 regular season races here this season. And then on Friday night, Jack and I will be back with you as we'll be covering the Enduro race for the Amish's Survivor Series at Mansfield 06. They'll be under the lights for the Dano Memorial, so be sure to join us for that one. Next time you'll see us here for the Barebones Racing Series will be in 2 weeks' time on February the 16th. We'll be covering the fallout of Daytona next week, as these drivers will take to the 1997 version of Atlanta. But we thank you all for joining us here tonight for our coverage from the Iowa Speedway. Congratulations to Jeff Supta on picking up the checkered flag. For Jack Mitchell, I'm Seth Cole. We thank you for spending your Monday evening with us as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.